They laughed when she walked into the room, just another girl in plain clothes, no entourage, no designer bag, nothing flashy. The staff at the luxury marina barely gave her a second glance. A few whispered comments, a smirk or two, and the subtle kind of disrespect that only comes when people think you're unimportant. They had no idea who she really was. She didn't say much. She didn't have to. Because sometimes the loudest statement doesn't come from words, it comes from what you do next. Her name was Mia. To them, just a quiet woman standing near the dock. But Mia wasn't here to impress anyone. She had built an empire in silence, far from the spotlight. No one knew that the calm expression on her face hid years of struggle, sacrifice, and a quiet determination that had taken her from sleeping in her car to becoming one of the most successful self-made women in the world. As they continued to brush her off, she simply smiled and pointed out toward the horizon. At first, they didn't understand, until their eyes followed her finger and landed on something that didn't seem real. A line of yachts. Not one, not two, an entire fleet. Each one more stunning than the last. And every single one. Hers. In that moment, the air shifted. The same people who looked down on her were now speechless, faces pale, pride shattered. But Mia didn't gloat. She didn't need to. She just turned, her voice calm and steady, and said something they'd never forget. But what she said next? That's the part no one saw coming, and it changed everything. Stay with me, because her story is just getting started. I didn't come here to impress you, Mia said softly, her eyes steady. I came to check on my crew. And just like that, she walked past them, toward her yachts, each one gleaming under the afternoon sun. No one moved. The same marina workers who ignored her now watched in stunned silence, some still trying to make sense of what they'd just seen. But how did Mia go from being overlooked to owning a fleet that could rival any billionaires? That's the part they couldn't see, the years that built the woman they were now scrambling to understand. Just 10 years ago, Mia was working double shifts as a waitress in a tiny coastal town. No connections, no business degree, nothing handed to her. She'd spent her nights scribbling ideas in a torn notebook, dreaming of something more. While most people saw the sea as a place for the rich to play, Mia saw it as the future. She began buying old, abandoned boats, ones people had given up on, fixing them with whatever money and scraps she could gather. People called her crazy, said she was wasting her time, but she kept going. The first yacht took her 2 years to restore. She lived on it while she worked, learning everything from engine repair to interior design. Slowly, word spread. She didn't just fix yachts, she transformed them. Her name became a quiet whisper in the world of custom luxury vessels. But no matter how much success she found, Mia never changed how she carried herself. And that's what confused people. How could someone so quiet, so unassuming, hold that much power? What they didn't know was that Mia was just getting started, and someone from her past was about to show up and threaten everything. Just as Mia stepped onto the deck of her first yacht, the one that started it all, her phone buzzed. A message flashed on the screen. One name, one person she hadn't heard from in years. Eli. Her hands tightened around the phone. Of all the people who could have resurfaced, he was the last she expected, or wanted. He wasn't just part of her past. He was the past, the part filled with betrayal, debt, and a deal that almost destroyed everything she had built. Eli used to be her business partner in the early days. He believed in her idea when no one else did. Or at least, that's what she thought. They started together, scraping by, pouring every cent into their dream of flipping boats and turning them into luxury charters. But when the business started to show promise, Eli disappeared, with their joint account drained and investors on their backs. Mia was left to clean up the mess alone. Now, all these years later, he was back, and the message was simple. We need to talk. It's urgent. At the same time, whispers had started circling in the marina. A few crew members had noticed something off. Strangers asking questions about Mia, taking photos of her yachts, pretending to be tourists. One of the younger captains swore he saw a drone hovering above one of the decks late at night. It wasn't just curiosity. Someone was watching her. Closely. And while Mia had faced pressure before, this felt different. Bigger. She could feel the tension creeping in like a storm over calm waters. Was Eli the start of something worse? Or was he just another ghost from the past, trying to crawl back in now that she'd made it? She didn't have answers yet, but she knew one thing: something was coming. The wind had picked up that evening, tugging at the flags on the docked yachts as if nature itself felt the shift in the air. Mia stood at the edge of the pier, staring out at the darkening sky. Her team had started to notice her silence. She wasn't usually like this. Calm, yes. Focused, always. But tonight, something felt off. And no one could shake the feeling that something, or someone, was closing in. Back inside her yacht, Mia opened the file her assistant had dug up. Photos, bank transfers, a shell company linked to a luxury charter group she'd never heard of. Except one name kept showing up over and over again: Eli. He wasn't just reaching out to make peace. He was moving money through offshore accounts, setting up a rival business, using her old plans. The very blueprint they'd once created together, now stolen, twisted, and repackaged under a different name. And that wasn't all. A storm warning had been issued for the next 24 hours. Most boats were ordered to dock, and yet 3 unknown vessels were circling the outer perimeter of Mia's fleet. No IDs, no clear owners, just drifting, watching, waiting. Mia's security chief reported strange calls intercepted on the marina's private frequency, talks of sabotage, of something being delivered tonight. She didn't know what they meant, but the unease grew stronger with every minute. This wasn't about business anymore. This was personal. Someone wanted to destroy everything she'd built, piece by piece. And for the first time in years, Mia felt the weight of fear trying to creep back in. She knew she had to act fast. But with her past closing in, and danger surrounding her from all sides, the real question was, could she still trust anyone? Because the next move could change everything. Just as Mia was about to call an emergency meeting with her crew, her assistant rushed in, pale, breathless, holding a tablet. "You need to see this," she said, placing it in Mia's hands. The screen lit up with a live feed from a private security camera positioned near the loading dock. There, under the cover of darkness, was someone they never expected to see again. It was Elena. Elena had once been Mia's closest friend and right hand, until she vanished 3 years ago without warning. Mia had searched, questioned everyone, but no answers ever came. Rumors floated around that Elena had left for a rival company, that she was paid off, that she'd disappeared for good. But now, here she was, in a dark hoodie, loading something into one of the unmarked boats hovering near Mia's fleet. The footage was time-stamped only minutes ago. Mia's mind raced. Was Elena working with Eli? Were they planning this together all along? Or was she being used too? Suddenly, it wasn't just about Eli stealing ideas. This was something deeper. An inside job, a betrayal Mia never saw coming. She felt the sting of it hit harder than the threat itself. Someone who once knew every corner of her operations, every weak spot in her security, every code to the vault that held her original plans, was back, and possibly helping to take her down from the inside. Meanwhile, one of the unknown vessels had cut its lights and begun drifting closer to the main yacht, the one Maya lived and worked from. A silent warning or something worse. She didn't know yet, but one thing was certain: the walls were closing in. And Mia had only hours, maybe less, to figure out who was loyal, and who was about to light the match that could burn it all down. The rain hit hard just after midnight. Thunder cracked over the marina as the sea began to churn. Mia stood on the deck of her main yacht, drenched but unshaken, eyes locked on the dark silhouette of the boat drawing closer. She had made her decision. No more waiting. No more wondering. She gave the signal, and her security team moved in, swift, silent, prepared. They intercepted the vessel just as it docked. Inside, hidden under tarps, were hard drives, blueprints, and forged documents, evidence tying Eli directly to a plan to launch a fake luxury charter brand using Mia's designs and brand reputation. But that wasn't the shock. What hit Mia hardest was what came next. Elena stepped out from the shadows, hands raised, face calm, and said the words Mia never expected. "I wasn't here to help Eli. I was here to trap him." Turns out, Elena had been working undercover with a global marine fraud task force. After disappearing years ago, she was recruited to expose Ellie's growing web of scams that targeted female-led businesses. She knew if she contacted Mia too soon, the entire operation would fall apart. The plan was risky, but Elena believed Mia would hold strong, like always. As Mia tried to process it all, sirens blared. Authorities swarmed the marina. Eli had been caught trying to flee on a stolen boat near the harbor entrance, carrying a suitcase full of forged contracts and untraceable cash. Everything Mia had built was safe. Her fleet, her name, her legacy. But just as she turned to thank Elena, her assistant came rushing out again, phone in hand. "Mia, there's something else. One of your yachts. It's gone." Mia froze. The storm wasn't over yet, and someone else was still playing a dangerous game. The missing yacht was found hours later, abandoned just outside the marina, its engines still warm. Nothing was taken, but a single note had been left on the captain's chair. No name, no signature. Just 5 words, scrawled in permanent marker. Asterisk, this isn't over. Keep watching. Asterisk. Mia stared at it in silence, the early morning sun breaking through the clouds behind her. The storm had passed, but the message was clear. Someone else was still out there, watching, waiting. Maybe a former investor Eli had crossed. Maybe someone with a deeper grudge. But for now, the threat had passed, and her business was safe. The rest would come in time. She stood quietly on the deck, taking it all in. The docks were slowly returning to life, crew members checking ropes, engines humming back to normal, sunlight bouncing off polished metal and glass. Her fleet stood tall, not just as luxury yachts, but as symbols of everything she had overcome. From being ignored and underestimated to fighting off betrayal and deceit, Mia had proven again that power doesn't always look loud or flashy. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, unshakable. Elena joined her at the railing, both women watching the horizon. "You built something real here," she said. "That's why they're still coming." Mia nodded. Let them. In the end, the story wasn't just about yachts, business, or revenge. It was about resilience, about rising above what people expect of you, about staying grounded even when the world around you tries to pull you under. And as the waves calmed and the sky cleared, Mia turned away from the sea, ready for whatever came next. Because no matter who tried to bring her down again, they'd all learn the same lesson. You don't treat a woman like Mia as a nobody, not twice.